You're watching Retirement Talk with Eric Carney, Southwest Florida's retirement television. He's an author, a radio host, a fiduciary, and Southwest Florida's premier investment advisor. Here is Senior Investment Advisor Eric Carney.
Welcome to Retirement Talk TV. My name is Cynthia DeFazio. I'm joined today by Eric Carney. Eric is President and CEO of Retirement Wealth Advisors. Eric, how are you today?
I'm great, Cynthia. Cynthia, always a pleasure to see you.
It's always a pleasure to see you too, because I know that you've been so incredibly busy in the office. Obviously, since we started with the shows, what, a year and a half ago?
Yeah.
It has been so busy for you. I know your phone's ringing off the hook. You're booking one consultation after the next. How are you finding time for everyone, Eric?
That's a good question. I think, you have to create sustainability in your personal life as well as in your work life. And I really think that doing financial planning, it's opened my eyes up to the life that I want to live through my clients. And so I really do believe in mindfulness. We've talked about that before, sustainability, and creating longevity. And I think by living in these principles, you're really enjoying your life along the way, but also being able to be very productive.
Yeah.
And I feel so grateful every time I get up in the morning that we've been able to help so many people, and we've changed so many people's financial lives around. And that is something that I'm absolutely blessed with.
Absolutely.
And so I love meeting new people. I love servicing our current clients that we've had for a long time. It's just been another great year, that's for sure.
It really has been, Eric, and I love just following you on social media, seeing all the things that you're doing. I love watching your posts. So you are enjoying a well-balanced life as well as helping your clients.
Yeah, thank you.
Let's talk about today's topic, which is creating income in uncertain times. And boy, did we have uncertain times when we went through the pandemic. Let's talk a little bit about that.
Yeah, so, the thing is that when we retire, we're now responsible for creating our own paycheck. Another word for retired is unemployed.
Yeah.
And so now, all of a sudden, we still have bills to pay. They're not going to go away. We still have taxes to pay, property taxes. And so the thing is that we want to continue our life. We want to maintain that lifestyle. Southwest Florida is beautiful. We've got amazing beaches, golf courses, you can go boating. Everything is there that we want, but we have to be able to maintain that lifestyle. We also want to be able to help our future generations. And so how do we do that while also taking care of ourselves? And there's no doubt there's been uncertain times in the stock market and with interest rates and so forth, but a lot of people really focus on the overall economy. What I tell my clients is, don't worry about the international economy. Don't worry about the domestic economy. Worry about your own economy. Are you okay? Are your personal goals and objectives still intact? Are you still able to create income in uncertain times? And that's really what we're focusing on.
Yeah.
So when we go through this is what I want people to think about, is their own situation.
Sure, that makes sense. And I love how you said your own personal economy, because that is so important. It's so critical. Step number one, you talk about creating a floor. So in my mind, I'm thinking of building a well-constructed home, and you start with the base. Is that the same for financial planning?
Yeah, that's a great analogy. So what we're taking a look at is, you want to build a floor of income that you're ensuring that your basic bills are being met all throughout retirement. So what happens is, we want to make sure that no matter what happens in the stock market, your food, your shelter is always there. You're always there to maintain some kind of standard of living. You don't have to worry about market volatility and so forth. You know that your very basic bills are going to be taken care of. So running out of income is not even a possibility, or shouldn't be a possibility. And even if the person runs out of investable assets later on during their life and they still have this floor of income available, that's okay. It's not optimal, but we also know that we're going to be okay. So what we're trying to do is create a floor of income that's sustainable, that provides longevity, that they know is going to be there no matter what.
I love that. That makes perfect sense. Also, sequence of returns. Let's talk a little bit about that.
How long do we have? Sequence of returns risk is real. This is when, in the early stages of retirement, your portfolio does poor returns. And now all of a sudden, that's going to reflect 15 to 20 years down the road. You could actually deplete your portfolio over a 15 to 20 year period. The problem is that, Cynthia, people see a bad rate of return one year after they retire, and then a not so great of return the next year, and they think, well, it's getting better. The problem is that we don't see that issue for another 15 to 20 years. We can see it actually in the income plan, but blindly, a client can't see that far without the software showing them that.
Okay.
And so what's happening is we have a lot of people that are calling us later on in life, and they're saying, Eric, we have a huge depletion to our portfolio that we didn't really expect. The problem is that as we get older, our options now shrink significantly. So there's a lot of times we have to hyper focus on a portfolio that's depleting itself. There's typically 3 or 4 things that are significantly wrong with that portfolio. But the bottom line is the investor, or the advisor rather, never explained sequence of returns risk. Maybe they didn't even know anything about it. There's a lot of advisors that don't understand account sequencing or sequence of return risk, and that's detrimental to you. The reason that I bring that up is, think about this, Cynthia. About 12 or 13 years ago, you had 2008 happen. Now you have a lot of retirees that are in their 70s that were affected by that.
Sure.
I do believe in the next few years, what happened way back then is then going to start to affect them now. There's a very good chance of that. And so again, when someone calls us up and we know what age they're at, we've got to hyper focus on that portfolio and fix it. Sometimes we can, sometimes we really can't do much about it. But sequence of returns is so important. You've got to pay attention to that rate of return.
Absolutely. I have to ask you, Eric, what about fees? Do those help to actually deplete a portfolio as well without people even realizing?
Yeah, absolutely, because I do believe that some older people actually have very outdated products with super high fees. We've talked about people with variable annuities and also people with old retail mutual funds, and their fees are through the roof. The other problem is you can absolutely identify those and know that they're passive. They're not tactical, which means they're not being managed, they're not being rebalanced, and their portfolios haven't changed sometimes in 15 or 20 years. The markets have changed, interest rates have changed, the volatility is new, world events are different, but yet their portfolio is still from 20 years ago. So this is absolutely detrimental. This is why we have to keep updating these. And there's a lot of people that say, I've been with an advisor for a long time. If the portfolio hasn't changed in a long time, it's outdated. I mean, and people say, well, how can you say that, Eric? Because I see dozens and dozens of new portfolios a week. People are coming constantly into the office, and we're taking a look at these portfolios. They are outdated. So people want a fresh set of eyes on here. They say, okay, I want a more purposeful, more optimal direction.
Yeah, that makes sense, because retirement is not set it and forget it. It needs to be looked at, it needs to be tweaked, it needs to be adjusted. And if someone has the same portfolio that they did 10 and 15 years ago, that certainly would be a red flag. It could be.
Right, absolutely.
Well, Eric, this is the perfect time for us to go ahead and open up the phone lines to the viewers at home for the very first time this week. Would you agree?
I would absolutely agree.
All right, sounds good. To the viewers at home, the phone number to call is on your screen. That number is 800-779-1942. What Eric is offering you today is a complimentary consultation, a portfolio review. Let him take a look at your current portfolio to make sure that you're on the right track for retirement. Does it need to be tweaked or changed or adjusted? And if you weren't on the right path, wouldn't you want to know today? Again, all you have to do is pick up the phone and call 800-779-1942. You only get one chance to retire. We want to make sure that you do it right. We're going to take a very short commercial break, but don't go anywhere. We're going to have so much more with Eric when we return.
Retirement can typically go one of two ways. It can be daunting and overwhelming, or it can be exciting and give you a newfound sense of adventure. Hi, my name's Eric Carney, President of Retirement Wealth Advisors. With today's market volatility, interest rate changes, inflationary issues, and world events, now more than ever, you want to find an advisor that you can trust who's an independent fiduciary, always looking out for your best interests. So whether you're looking for a second opinion, a full-blown financial plan, or a portfolio recovery strategy, give us a call today. Remember, you only retire once. Let's get it right the first time.
With current market volatility, interest rates, and inflation concerns, a retirement plan is a must-have. Planning for retirement requires a strategic financial plan that includes sophisticated tax strategies, tactical portfolio management, and possible transfers of generational wealth. Let Eric Carney and his team of professionals at Retirement Wealth Advisors map out your retirement to maximize your tax efficiency and implement custom portfolio strategies. Call Retirement Wealth today for a complimentary personal financial blueprint, where you'll more than likely learn more about your portfolio than ever before. You only retire once. Let's get it right the first time.
And welcome back to Retirement Talk TV. My name is Cynthia DeFazio. I'm joined today by Eric Carney. He is President and CEO of Retirement Wealth Advisors. Eric, a great show that we're having today, talking about creating income in uncertain times. So let's keep going with that, and let's talk about, how does fixed income play a role?
So fixed income right now is my problem child. With interest rates where they are right now, when you can refinance a house at around 3%, it's crazy what's happening to the fixed income world. So when times get tough and times get uncertain, there's a lot of people that want to go towards a fixed income portfolio or a bond portfolio. Right now, that could be a very safe place to lose money. So it's very important right now to possibly look for a very strong bond alternative. How can we get bond-like returns, keep the safety in there? Now, in a normal bond market, what we're taking a look at is you could lower the volatility, you could lower the risk of your portfolio. It could provide you with tax-free income if we're using municipal bonds, but they're very difficult to find right now with a decent yield to those.
Okay.
The one good thing about fixed income, though, Cynthia, is back in March of 2020, if you really want to know if your advisor was proactive back then, we actually utilized our fixed income portfolio in our qualified accounts, and we were able to take advantage of that down market. So when the markets had plunged, we were sitting in cash and also fixed income. At that point, we purchased low-cost exchange-traded funds and individual stocks and actually rode out of that market in deep of March. And all of a sudden, what you saw was we came out of the hole very strong with strong alpha. And by getting rid of the low-performing fixed income and going to equities, it was like a rocket ship. And we ended up having a great year. But then what we did was we took off the top of our equities and purchased more fixed income, and we were way ahead of the game.
Okay.
So what we were doing was we were actually sacrificing that, using it as a hedge, and then using it when we needed it. And it was such a great strategy that all of our clients, especially our new clients, said, okay, Eric, now we understand what true money management is. Now we understand what it's like to be proactive. Last year, it was like tough financial love with a lot of our clients. Sometimes we had to say no to things. You know, it's kind of like a child when they want something and they want something. Sometimes we have to say, no, this is not good for you. And so this actually enforced a lot of our relationships with our clients, because now they're like, okay, Eric, I get it. You know, when times are good, we don't pay a lot of attention to our portfolios, but when times get tumultuous, this is really when you went to work. And there's a lot of people that didn't see their advisor do anything. You know, if their advisor's working from home or hiding under their desk, or you're not allowed to go into your office. This is my money that you're managing, and you're sending out emails to people, you can't come into our offices. That was unacceptable to me. Our clients were able to come in. We want to be safe back then. But our clients wanted to see us.
Yeah.
And in the thick of things, when we're in that battle and we're in the trenches, our clients want us managing their money, not running off to the sidelines. So fixed income is a fickle character, but we have to utilize it and take advantage of it when we can. So it was a very powerful tool last year as a hedge, but like I said, you got to be very careful of it because it also could be a safe way to lose money as well.
Absolutely. And Eric, we have heard from so many people in prior weeks, if you will, that did not hear from their advisor at all during the pandemic. That to me is a total red flag. If there's no communication there, why are you working with someone?
Well, the crazy thing is, Edward Jones, don't come in our office, right? We'll call you. I hope you do, right? Now all of a sudden you see all these commercials. Hey, we're back. Where were you a year ago? I mean, this is disgusting to a lot of people.
Yeah.
And this is what's wrong with the financial industry. When times get tough, this is why you have an advisor. This is why you have a strategy. This is why you have an income plan.
That's right.
This is why my whole planning staff spends so much time on a client building and creating this plan.
Yeah.
It's not just, a half hour and we completed your plan. There's sometimes that 5-6 hours that go into a plan, and then there's 7-8 hours that go into the income plan, and then all of a sudden we have to tweak that. Everything is going to ebb and flow over time, and people want to know that they're headed in an optimal direction. And last year, there's a lot of people that didn't feel that way,
Of course.
and that's what we're trying to fix.
Eric, let's talk about this for just a moment. Adding a tax-advantaged portfolio. Let's talk about why that's important.
There's a lot of people out there who want to reduce their taxes. There's a lot of people out there who crave tax reduction strategies, but either their advisory firm doesn't offer it, their advisor has never offered it, or they just don't want the liability of it. And so what we're looking at is we're looking at the transfer of wealth. We're also looking at income. And so if you want to lower your tax income, what's happening is we want to implement tax strategies. You could have Roth IRAs, you could have Roth conversions, you could have municipal bonds, you could have other individual tax-free income streams along with your traditional IRAs. And what you're doing is you can go through and pick and choose where you want to pull that account from or pull that money from each year to make it the most tax efficient. So by creating all these tax-free strategies, you're now creating multiple options, and it's up to the advisor where best to pull that. And again, it's not about just reducing your taxable income, it's about managing your tax brackets. This is what high net worth investors are wanting. They're craving this. They want their advisor to be looking ahead. I've talked about my CPA before. There's a lot of CPAs that record history. This CPA actually looks in the forefront and says, look, these are things that are coming down the pike that we really have to be aware of. We have to do the same thing in that financial plan. We have to look at this year, the next 6 months, the next 3 years, 5 years, 15 years, and 20 years. And it's a lot of work, but this is what we're supposed to be doing. We're not just selling products. We're not just selling tools. We're encompassing and embracing that client with all the tools that they actually need and providing them, more importantly, with transparency. They finally understand where they're supposed to be right now.
Sure, that makes sense. So obviously, we should talk a little bit about Roth conversions. Is that a very important tool that you can utilize to help people with as well?
Yeah, right now, Donna has gone through every single portfolio. We're taking a look at Roth conversions. Here's the issue that we're seeing with new people coming in. They're being advised to just take out huge chunks of traditional IRA and move that into a Roth conversion. When they finally see how much it costs to do the conversion, they just about fall on the floor, and I don't blame them. What we're looking at is we're looking to do a systematic withdrawal from a traditional IRA to fund the Roth conversion over time. And again, we want to make sure that this is sustainable and also affordable. So we're creating a time horizon for that Roth conversion. Now all of a sudden it's starting to make sense to the new client. They're like, I was never told this before. And a lot of times they go back to their CPA and their CPA says, yeah, that makes a lot of sense. So again, we have to think about about so many moving parts with retirement.
Sure.
And it's a lot of people, it's difficult for a lot of people to see those. But again, that's why I've built a team around us. We have a great staff. And again, we're all getting on that client and saying, look, what is best for you and your needs?
Yeah, absolutely. Eric, this is the perfect time for us to reopen up the phone lines to the viewers at home. Would you agree?
I would agree.
All right. To the viewers at home, the phone number to call is on your screen. That number is 800-779-1942. What Eric is offering you today is a portfolio review, a complimentary consultation. Let him take a look at what you currently have in place. Is this the right path for your retirement? If you're not on the right path, wouldn't you want to know that today? Again, all you have to do is be one of the first 10 callers today. That number is 800-779-1942. And we have to take a very short commercial break, but don't go anywhere. I'm going to have so much more with Eric when we return.
What does your retirement look like? Is it filled with travel, spending time with family, or are you too worried to even think about your hopes and dreams? Eric and his team can answer your questions with a complimentary review of your retirement and income plan, and it all starts with getting to know you. Because every dream needs a plan. Call Eric today and schedule your visit. You only retire once, so let's get it right the first time.
And welcome back to Retirement Talk TV. My name is Cynthia DeFazio. I'm joined today by Eric Carney. Eric is President and CEO of Retirement Wealth Advisors. Eric, a great show we're having, talking about creating income in uncertain times.
Yes.
Very timely topic.
Yes.
Let's keep going with that, just in an effort to save time. Withdrawing from appreciated assets. Let's talk about that for a little bit.
Right. So when we go through withdrawals, we want to understand the most optimum part of the portfolio to pull your income from. So a lot of times we don't want to pull from depreciated assets. So there was actually a woman in Punta Gorda who came into me. She had an insurance product, and then she had a brokerage product. She was pulling her required minimum distributions from a product that was giving her 4%. The problem with that, Cynthia, was it wasn't able to replenish itself. And I said, do you realize, and she cuts me right off, and she goes, yes, Eric, I'm depleting that account.
Yeah.
So what we did was she ended up working with us. We moved over her assets. We turned off the income to that. We then went to the brokerage account, updated that, made it much more relevant to today's times, lowered her fees significantly, and now all of a sudden we pulled all of her income from the appreciated assets. It allowed the other account to replenish itself, and it also allowed the higher rate of return one to replenish itself on a regular basis. Now what we did was we stabilized the portfolio.
Okay.
It completely made sense.
Yeah.
And the thing is that people assume that we're going to take on more risk. Believe it or not, we actually lowered her beta, which is just another word for risk. So she was very happy to see through True Wealth Management, we lowered her risk, we lowered her volatility, and we ended up giving her a smoother rate of return. So now her income withdrawals are much more sustainable.
I love that, because obviously before speaking with you, like you mentioned, she was depleting her account, and we've talked about this in the past, that it's one of the things that would be a total red flag. If you're going through money quickly,
Right.
You're not going to have enough to last throughout all of your retirement years.
I think one of the things that we've seen is, we're taught throughout our life, throughout our early retirement, we have to save, save, save. We have to accumulate, right? And there's plenty of people that tell us how to do that. The problem is no one tells us how to tap our investments. And unfortunately, a lot of advisors are not set up to do decumulation. No one has an income plan. Everyone that's coming into us, we ask them, please bring your income plan. We don't see them. We did have one couple that came in from a very large custodian, and they said, Eric, you're going to be quite pleased. We actually have an income plan. I was very excited to see this. The problem was they were spending $120,000 a year. The income plan that they were shown, they were only spending $80,000 a year. Secondly, there were not one healthcare or one medical issue that was accompanied for or accounted for in the large custodian. So if one of them got sick, Cynthia, and it showed them spending $80,000 a year when they were really spending $120,000, the plan failed.
Absolutely.
The third problem was they weren't even factoring in inflation over time. So they told them that in another 20 years, you're going to be spending $80,000. If you're truly spending $120,000 in another 20 years, I guarantee that's going to be north of $150,000. Their income plan absolutely failed. And when they sat back in their chair, they're like, Eric, we had no idea. They just said, here's your income plan, you're going to be okay. What we're doing is we're covering everything: taxes, inflation, rate of return, Social Security. Social Security is naturally inflated by 1.5%. We actually put that in the portfolio. We also use spousal benefits. I mean, what happens if one of the spouse goes? How does that switch over? There's so many things that are identified in the income plan, and now all of a sudden people realize, how come we didn't have this before?
Yeah.
That's the frustrating thing about this business. People have hundreds and hundreds of thousands of dollars out there, sometimes even millions of dollars, but there's no financial plan, there's no income plan, there's no concierge service, and they certainly don't have a well-built portfolio. Give us a call for a second opinion today.
Absolutely. And Eric, let's also talk about accountability.
Yeah.
That's a big one, accountability.
Right. So people right now, they want accountability, and they want to know that who's accountable for what? So Donna Crone, she's a certified financial planner. She heads up my financial planning department. And Donna is incredibly detail-oriented. And so there's a lot of times where people will hold her accountable for the financial plan and for the income plan. I'm responsible for the wealth management side. So when people have a question on that, they're reaching out to me and my department. For the day-to-day monetary needs, Autumn holds that up, and she takes care of the concierge service side. So when someone needs something of our clientele, they know who to call. But we've created accountability. We're telling these people, look, if you have any questions, these are the people who you're going to call. And then we have hundreds of people that work in the back office that assist us every day. So there's a lot of moving parts, but we know what's going on. We want to create that accountability and provide that to our clients.
Absolutely. Well, Eric, we only have a couple minutes left of the show this week. I know it always flies by when we're together, but let's just talk about what can someone expect to feel when they first come into your office for the very first time?
I'm hoping a sense of calm, right? And, you know, I've talked before about changing my CPAs. That was a really big deal. I actually had to go into someone's office, get, meted and greeted, get offered something to drink, and go through the whole process. It was a little overwhelming. 10 minutes into the meeting, though, I felt this sense of calm. And I even told Shane Northrup, who's my new CPA, I said, Shane, I can't believe the sense of calm that I have over me. So that's what we're hoping to give other people. The people are realizing this is a different concept, and I've never had this offered to me. So we're excited to be able to provide that with a lot of people.
And I love that because it's a very comfortable experience, like you mentioned, very calm. It's very, when you're talking with someone back and forth, it's very interactive. So people are asking you questions, you're asking them questions, and you're deciding if you're a good fit for each other.
Right.
And we've also talked about the fact that it's a no judgment zone. There's really nothing that you haven't heard, because a lot of people might be on the fence about calling thinking, I've made some mistakes in the past. But you know what, Eric? Who hasn't, right?
That's absolutely right, Cynthia.
Well, I can't believe we're to the end of another amazing show this week. Thank you so very much for all of your time. To the viewers at home, most specifically, we want to thank you for spending time with us. That number to call once again is 800-779-1942. You only have one chance to retire. We want to make sure that you get it right the first time. Thank you again for spending time with us. Be safe, be happy, be blessed. And again, that number is 800-779-1942. We will see you back here, same time, same location, 1 week from today. Thank you so much.
Hey Southwest Florida, thank you so much for watching. If you're in need of a second opinion or a full-blown comprehensive financial plan, give us a call today. Remember, you only retire once. Let's get it right the first time. Have a great week and an even better retirement.